Now, some things you definitely want to look for when looking for abnormal traffic, and this is by no means an all-inclusive list. These are just things that you should key in on when you're looking at a packet capture, for example. Ports outside of normal ranges. Look for anything that's outside the commonly used ports, anything that's a high range port that you can't identify or connect to an application on the network. Also look for protocols that are not generally used or allowed by your policy. If you're constantly seeing chat or IM and it's not allowed by policy, well, that's a big indicator that you've got some protocol stuff going on out there that you need to take care of, either by creating a policy or enforcing the policy, or maybe through a technical measure such as shutting that stuff off on the host or the firewall. Any kind of unexpected encrypted traffic. Now you might ask, why should I look for encrypted traffic? Well, it could be for several reasons. First of all, an insider could be sending data outside of your network encrypted, or a hacker could be coming inside of your network and encrypting their traffic to evade intrusion detection systems. You should have a policy that covers who can use encryption under what conditions and for what reasons. And anything that's outside that policy you should pay attention to. Any encrypted traffic that you shouldn't expect to see, you should look at. Also look for websites that might not normally be visited. These are sites that could indicate that a user is going to a pornography or a hacker site or any other kind of site that's not allowed by policy. Pay attention to your proxy and firewall logs for that as well. Also, unknown destination IP addresses. If you've baselined your traffic and you see users going to pretty much the same IP addresses every day at various times, then that might be something you can discount. But look for strange IP addresses that may be connected to hacker sites, pornography sites, and so forth. Investigate strange or unknown IP addresses. Another thing you definitely want to look at is look for internal IP addresses coming from outside of the network. Usually that indicates some sort of spoofing attack. So you definitely want to block internal IP addresses on the inbound interface of your firewall, but also watch for those coming in through your packet captures. Look for heavier than normal traffic around slack periods. If you see your bandwidth start jumping, if you're looking at a packet capture or your logs and you're seeing your bandwidth jump around slack periods such as the middle of the night, and you know that according to your baseline that traffic shouldn't be there, investigate that. Run packet captures around that time and see what's coming in or going out. Also look for heavier than normal traffic that affect particular internal hosts, either coming from or going to. If your packet capture shows an abnormal amount of traffic connected to a particular host, that may mean a couple of things. It may mean the host is being attacked by a source outside of your network, or it may mean that a malicious user is doing something they shouldn't be doing, violating a policy, exceeding your download limits, and so forth. So you might want to look at that. Look for high error rates during peak times. Those might indicate loss of connectivity. Those might indicate a network problem. Those might indicate an attack on one of your devices. So look for high error rates. Reconnects, resending TCP packets, users that are complaining about connection during peak times, and so forth. It might mean you have a simple bandwidth or a simple network problem that you need to address. And packet capturing will show you this because you'll be able to see this during the packet capture. Also look for chattering internal hosts. One indicator of a network problem with the network card on a host is a chattering network card. It could be going bad, it could be sending packets out constantly on the network, and that would reduce your overall bandwidth and interfere with network communications. But also it could mean that there's something on that host that's causing that host to chatter as well, to send out a large amount of traffic, such as a malicious program could do that. Look for repeated or high levels of packet loss. If you're seeing consistent packet loss in particular circumstances such as a time of day or to and from a particular host, then you definitely need to look at that and see if there's some network problems. Also look for delays or latency when you look at your packet captures. Look at how long it's taking for network traffic to travel and compare this to your baseline. Again, this emphasizes why it's so important to have a good baseline of traffic. But look for delays or latency in your network that could indicate problems. Now, one thing you might want to look at as well, and this might come from other symptoms such as a host complaining about slow performance or a possible attack going on, is look for unusual flags in your packet captures. Look for SYN scans coming from a network scan. Look for things like Christmas tree attacks. These might be indicated by the TCP flags being set in weird or strange combinations. So look for those in your packet captures as well. Another thing you definitely want to look for, and we've talked about this, is ICMP traffic. High volumes of ICMP traffic can be used to cause denial of service attacks. So you might want to look for that. You also might want to think about shutting ICMP traffic off at your external boundary device, such as your firewall or external router. This will help limit a lot of the amounts of ICMP traffic that can come in your network and can cause various attacks, such as the Smurf attack and so forth. Having said that, you need to learn what the kind of attacks look like. The Smurf attack, the ping of death, and so forth, and watch for those kinds of attacks. Now, a lot of intrusion detection systems will tell you and alert you if these kinds of attacks are going on, but there are ways around all those, and you need to watch for those. You need to be able to look at a simple packet capture and determine if someone is doing this to you. Bottom line is you want to just look for anything that's not normal. Again, I can't emphasize enough having a good baseline of traffic for the network. That way you can see what's normal and what's not, because if you don't know what's normal, you'll definitely not be able to see what's not normal. The last thing I would tell you is rely on other sources other than your packet captures. Your packet captures are going to tell you a lot of information, but compare this information to other sources to confirm it, to establish a timeline, and so forth. Those other sources could be logs, IDS alerts and logs, firewall logs, and so forth. They also could be logs off your host. So compare the packet captures to these other sources to help confirm your suspicions, to help you troubleshoot, to help you stop an attack, establish a timeline, and so forth. Those are just some of the things you want to look for when examining your packet captures for abnormal or unusual traffic or to troubleshoot bandwidth or network connectivity problems.